Well, we're just about halfway through the season, and here we are back at lovely Cadwell Park in Lincolnshire for round 5 of the MRO T3 Challenge. First up, we're going to have action from the EDI Asia Formula 400s, a series brand new to the BEMSI MRO programme this year. Fantastic grids full of fighting 400s, and then it's the big ones, the 1000cc bikes, the BEMSI power bikes. We're going to be picking up on their championship as well. But as usual in these programmes, our main focus on the Triumph Triple Challenge, the TGG Cup for the riders over 25 and the Michelin Young Guns, those riders under 25. And Cadwell Park, this fantastic little circuit, like a mini Spa in Lincolnshire, only for bikes. Much better than Spa, to be honest. And there, Adam Lyon on pole position. Alongside him, Max Exton, the rookie 400 championship winner from last year. Then 43, Steve Palmer. And 18, Mark Parbury. That's your front row. Good to see Mark there, yes. He had a big off just a couple of weeks ago, and good to see him recover from that. But EDI Asia Formula 400s are go, and it's a good old drag race up this relatively short start-finish straight into the uphill left-hander of Compass, and Max Exton gets away really well over the top and around the right-hander of Charlie's. Then this wonderful swoop downhill and uphill along Park Straight, and Adam Lyon just getting the drag and getting past Max Exton there. Steve Palmer settling into third place through Park Corner onto Chris Curve, and then down into this wicked little complex of the Gooseneck. A right and a left, they heel it over on a real sharp run downhill. It's literally off the side of the mountain, it feels like, into that left-hander of Mansfield. Then a burst down towards the chicane. Out of the chicane they come. And Adam Lyon still from Max Exton, Steve Palmer. Steve Murphy, number 10 there, just ahead of Mark Parbury. Then we got Simon Braby and Colin Martin chasing hard as they run up the mountain, over the top. They get the front wheel off the ground. Sometimes they get both wheels off. If you're not flying, you're not trying. And then through Hall Bends into the woods they go. And it's a left, right, left, and down to the hairpin. And a little drop down again downhill through Barn Corner and onto the start-finish line to complete the lap. And look at Max Exton. He gets the drive running down the hill, and he's up alongside, and he's just squeezed ahead of Adam Lyon. Once again at Coppice. Steve Palmer keeping a bit of a watching brief there as they come out of Charlie's. And then look at this. Line astern trying to pick up a bit of a tow. Down and up the hill and Park Straight, and it looks as though Adam Lyon was having a bit of a think there, and he was just thinking maybe I could run that upside under braking. But there we see number 90 and number 8, Simon Exton, but there 79. 90 is the rookie leader, and that's John Ashley, and Josh Murdoch chasing him in that rookie battle. But up the front there, Max Exton still leading from Adam Lyon and Steve Palmer. Steve sort of riding shotgun for these two, keeping an eye out for any mistakes. And there's Owen Singleton, another of the rookies. That's obviously denoted by the orange rookie vest that he's got on. Chasing hard down towards the chicane, but here come the leaders out of Barn Corner. Max Exton once again. Look at him flat on the tank, and Adam Lyon this time looks like he has picked up a bit of a tow, and ooh, good line there inside a Coppice. And it doesn't, you can hug the inside there because it means you drift over to the right as you run up the hill, and that gives you the line into the next corner at Charlie. So Adam Lyon it is now, coming around Chris Curve and down towards the Gooseneck that leads. There we see Colin Martin chasing after Simon Braby. Simon on the number 4 machine there in the middle of that group. There he is, and Colin all over his case. They run down towards Mansfield. That is a place where you can overtake here at Cadwell. Bit of a ducker and diver, but you can do it. And at the moment, Adam Lyon just maintaining that lead ahead of Max Exton. Max getting a bit squirrely up the front end as he lifts it over the mountain. Steve Palmer there just once again he's tracking them it's interesting. Steve's as quick as you like, and he's got a wonderful aggressive style. Yeah, rather fancy. He may have bike problems. Well, we'll have to see how he progresses. And there, Danny Buchan on the 83 ahead of Simon Braby, Colin Martin and David Scott at the back of that group, running well all weekend. But over the top into Park, and then Chris Curve comes Adam Lyon, Max Exton still chasing hard. And there, that gap I think increasing back to Steve Palmer. Then Mark Parbury, who started on that front row of the grid. And there we see this battle there. Dave Scott getting, well, he's almost up alongside Colin Martin. Can't quite squeeze his way through as they both chase Simon Braby, but Adam Lyon out of the chicane. Max Exton still, well, he's matching him in terms of lap times. They've been only a couple of tenths apart for the entire race. And, well, it's the last lap. Well, Max Exton, Max has gone missing. He's no longer there in second place. Don't know what's happened to him, but that must have been all of a sudden. And there, Mark Parbury will move up a place, but Adam Lyon is leading, and comfortably so now. And here he comes down for the last time out of Barn Corner. Yes, there's the checker flag, and that's a good win. And now, look at the gap. That's where Max should be. So Steve Palmer will take, yes, big old swan dive, Steve. Second place. And Mark Parbury then following Adam Lyon and Steve Palmer home. Steve Murphy, a good fourth. Danny Buchan, ex-Subdeen rider, in fifth, and Colin Martin in sixth place. And there they are on the podium. Adam Lyon, Max Exton and Mark Parbury, joined by the rookie winner John Ashley.
Unfortunately, I made a really poor start, and the front three guys just left me within the first lap, so I spent the rest of the race trying to catch up, really. Unfortunately, they pulled that gap and I just didn't have enough pace to pull it back, but Max, Steve and Adam were having a good battle at the front. Unfortunately, Max dropped out and I picked up the third position.
Got a good start, kept with them, but couldn't keep the pace really, so but I was lucky to get second really, because Max Exton's chain broke over the mountain, so I was on him, but there we go. See how we get on. Next one.
A pretty good start off the line, but I was under pressure from the first three laps from Steve and Max. It's unfortunate Max had to retire from the race due to his chain, but I suppose that's racing in the end. But I mean, I had pressure on me for the majority of the race, to be honest with you. I managed to pull a gap by the end of the race, but I was making so many stupid mistakes. I was going wide everywhere, braking markers were different, but in the end I was just happy to take the win, so another 25 points, so can't really complain really.
And in the rookies for the EDI Asia 400s, the win was taken by John Ashley.
Tough race, absolutely exhausted afterwards, but I had a really good time out there, and didn't really see anyone the whole race, just tried to keep on the pace and not fall off.
Not falling off, always a good idea. Now, some highlights of the first of the Bemsey power bike races. Good performance in qualifying there from number 3, Peter Baker, the championship leader coming into this weekend, but really rather a poor start. Saw him back in the pack and with a lot of work to do during the race. Mark Lister just getting ahead of Michael O'Brien there to take the lead, and we see Sam Bishop chasing hard after Peter Baker and Luc de Lecoeur, but up the front, Mark Lister, well, a superb win, only in the second year of racing, Mark Lister. It was his rookie year last year, won 2 Bemsey championships, and he's picking up where he left off, really, ahead of a real quality field. There's Steve Thompson chasing hard in third place. Peter Baker having got past Luc de Lecoeur. Well, that's a few more championship points for Peter, and Sam Bishop hanging on in there in 6th place as Mark Lister crosses to take the checker flag ahead of Michael O'Brien and Steve Thompson. And then Peter Baker working hard. Yeah, sits up a little relieved after that. And there we see Mark Lister with the 25 points for the win from Michael O'Brien, Steve Thompson, Peter Baker, Luc de Lecoeur in 5th and Sam Bishop in 6th. And then Mark Lister up onto the podium, shaking hands with Michael O'Brien and Steve Thompson.
Very happy. It's a tough race this weekend, a very strong field. Cadwell is a very physical circuit, and I think 7 laps is really enough for me. I don't know how the BSB guys do 20, 25 laps. It really shows how physically strong they are, but very pleased with the 3rd place.
It's a good meeting, good race with Mark Lister. He got me on the brakes into park, but it was a good race overall. I think the lap time's pretty good. Just I'd like to say thanks to my 2 sponsors, Cord Company and O'Brien Hi-Fi, my parents, and also X-Perfect for all the stickers this year. They're looking good on the bike.
I got a bad start. I hit Peter Baker off the start. We both rode into each other. That let 2 guys get in front of me. Sam Bishop was one of them. I got past him after a couple of laps and then chased down the leader. Tried to outbrake him at the end of part, and that went wrong. And he got me on the outside, and then I did it again on the next lap, and then just tried to ride as hard as I could for the next 2 laps. Hopefully I do the same. I need to get a good start really and just get my head down. So.
Well, while you get your head down, Mark, we will head for a break, and the action afterwards, the Triumph Triple Challenge. Welcome back to Cadwell Park for the 5th round of the MRO T3 Challenge, and before the first of the Triumph races, a minute's silence was observed in memory of Alex Beckers, who sadly lost his life racing in Latvia.
There's a very close community spirit within the series. Everyone chips in, everyone helps one another, everyone gets pally, and I think at the end of the year, friendships will be made that will be made for life. And Alex came into the series all the way from Latvia, Latvian scooter champion, which was a brilliant thing on his CV. The boy was just great. He was polite. He spoke better English than some people that I know. He was over here studying at university, Bath University, and he took his Triumph, which he adored, back home for some races in Latvia, following a podium win at Silverstone. He was on a high, and you know, the details of it are neither here nor there, but you know, he lost his life at his home track. The reality is we've lost a 19-year-old young man who had an extreme amount of talent, had phenomenal manners, and you just sometimes ask yourself the question, why?
So the grid for the Triumph Triple Challenge subdued after that minute's silence, but now it's all action in the first of the races. Scott Rowbottom, Lance Carey, Mark Kringle and Rhys Rothwell on that front row, and the whole field tearing up through Coppice and Charlie's, now down the long drag of Park Straight, way down the dip and up through Park. Here they come into Chris Curve, and Rhys Rothwell there tucked in right behind Mark Kringle. Mark, rider over for the season from the Isle of Man, and been a front runner in most of the races as well, and being chased hard now as they go down through the gooseneck by Scott Rowbottom. There we see Ralph Laturco back in 9th place, I think, as he runs down through Mansfield. But Scott Rowbottom, we can see him there, number 14 in 3rd place. He's got the blue wheels, under pressure from number 10, Lance Carey. Scott Rowbottom, something of a local lad. He comes from not far away. And this, very definitely, a circuit he absolutely loves. So we'll see what his progress is like from there. There we see Tom Fisher running through Hall Bends just ahead of Ralph Laturco. Ralph in those bright yellow leathers. And the leaders come down to complete the lap there. Reece Rothwell chasing hard after Mark Kringle, and then Lance Carey getting up alongside Scott Rowbottom and Toby Glenn, the other side of him as well. Toby having a good run here at Cadwell Park. The two leaders just chasing. Look at that again, side by side, running down Park Straight. They'll sort themselves out in a minute, I'm sure. Mark Kringle under pressure from Reece Rothwell. Look at this. Just Scott Rowbottom squeezing there. Oh my goodness, he's just overdone that. And he runs wide and onto the grass. Oh, Scott, he'll be absolutely furious, but at least he stayed on board. There are those that simply dump it on the green sward up there, but Scott maintaining his bike under par, and they run down through Mansfield. Well, he's going to lose absolutely heaps of positions there. And now, there we see the two leaders, and Lance Carey into 3rd. Josh Wainwright has got just ahead of Toby Glenn, and then we see Mark Cheetham tucked in behind with Ralph Laturco. That's the battle for the lead of the TDG Cup for the over 25s. Leaders through, then Lance Carey, and Josh Wainwright, he's absolutely flying. Oh, is he going to have a bit? I thought he was going to have a go down the inside of the hairpin, but thought better of it. Mark Kringle to the line, Reece Rothwell chasing hard, then Lance Carey, then Josh still there and still on board. Toby Glenn, the good 5th place, then Mark Cheetham and Ralph Laturco. Ralph running around the outside of Mark Cheetham, and Ralph Laturco goes up into the lead of the TGG Cup runners. Up the hill they come. And Reece Rothwell this time outbreaks Mark Kringle. Rothwell up into the lead. Lovely race between the two of them, and it's not far back to the pack. And there we see chasing hard is Ricky Chadwick. Ricky, who carries the number 1 this year, courtesy of winning the TDG Cup last season. And meanwhile at the front, Reece Rothwell. Oh, go on, wind it on, mate, ahead of Mark Kringle. And then Josh Wainwright, he's got ahead of Lance Carey finally. Lance will be hard back at it, but Josh Wainwright having a lovely ride up into 3rd. And he's really on the gas there, and he's reducing the gap between himself and the leaders immediately. We see Ralph Laturco still leading TGG Cup runner, and there Andy Marriott just on the back of that group. But well, let's look at the gap there. Josh Wainwright, we can see as the leaders, Reece Rothwell and Mark Kringle, cross the line. Lance Carey, look, he's lost touch with Josh Wainwright. Josh absolutely flying in that 3rd place. Well, there's enough race left. He could catch the leaders yet. Look at him as they come up the hill. I'll tell you what, Lance Carey's come with him as well. This is a great scrap at the front. Still Rothwell from Kringle. That's the leading 4. There we can see Jack Sim chasing hard in the TDG Cup, and there's Lance Carey chasing the 3 leaders hard as they run down towards Mansfield. And there we see Mark Kringle. He's just nicked by inside and takes the lead from Reece Rothwell, and Josh Wainwright's right on the case as well as they come into the bottom of the mountain. Lance Carey is still in with a shout. Anything can happen up the front, and once again the front wheels pour in the air. Look at Josh Wainwright, he's up into 2nd. He does race there over the top of the mountain. Josh Wainwright, a fantastic race from him, and hard on the brakes they go down through the hairpin and into Hall Bends. Now then, a new chase at the front. It's Mark Kringle across the line. Josh Wainwright absolutely hammering along, and look at Lance Carey. He fancies a piece of this as well, but he just can't make that count. And there we see Ricky Chadwick chasing hard after Ben Cater and Paul Hughes. They too down into that hairpin as Mark Kringle under extreme pressure from Josh Wainwright. He'll know Josh is there by now. And look at the gap, the two of them just eking out over the rest. There we can still see Ralph Laturco leading the TDG Cup runners. Mark Cheetham is in there with them. Still, really all about this battle between the two at the front. Mark Kringle and Josh Wainwright, and Josh giving it absolute beans there up over the mountain and into all bends. Look how the two of them have dragged themselves away from the chasing battle behind. That's Lance Carey, of course, and Reece Rothwell. And there we see Toby Glenn, Toby with the TDG Cup battlers behind him. Ralph Turco leading those as the outright race leaders and Michelin Young Gun leaders cross the line to start their final lap here at Cadwell Park. Up the hill they run from Coppice, and there we see the last lap flag, the yellow with the black cross on it. And there we see a slow machine, that's Paul Marks. But here come the flying ones there at the front. It is Mark Kringle and Josh Wainwright. Josh putting all sorts of pressure on Mark. And there we see Toby Glenn ahead of this battle of the TDG Cup and running wide there. Mark Cheetham, who was right on the rear tyre of Ralph Turco, and a big wobble there from Adam Parsons. Oh, and he's got problems. Tim Venables and David Jones just go past. I think that's... oh, and look at that, the leader! That's Mark Kringle, and he dumps it on his own at the exit of the chicane. Josh Wainwright moves into the lead ahead of Lance Carey and Scott Rowbottom, who's had a magnificent ride recovering from that grassy moment earlier in the race. He's got up ahead of Reece Rothwell. Well, all action here towards the end of the first of these triple challenge races. And what else can happen? A couple of corners to go as the leader comes down from Barn, Josh Wainwright. Well, this has been a wonderful storming ride from Josh. He takes the win. And Lance Carey eventually second. And what a ride from Scott Rowbottom, having chucked it all away at the beginning, recovers to finish third. And Ralph Turco takes the TDG Cup win. Well, there we see, oh, look at that, just tucking it under there. Mark Kringle with around half a lap to go, just bidding it. And Josh Wainwright just trying to keep it all together. He can't believe his luck. Lance Carey pushing on hard in second. Poor old Mark Kringle, but Josh Wainwright takes a very good win from Lance Carey, Scott Rowbottom, Reece Rothwell, Toby Glenn, and the TDG Cup winner, Ralph Turco, is sixth. And there, Josh Wainwright in action. Lovely race from him. He's the Michelin Young Guns winner from Lance Carey, Scott Rowbottom, Reece Rothwell. Toby Glenn was fifth and Tom Fisher in sixth. And on the podium, there we see Josh, Lance and Scott. So 1, 2, 3.
Tried my hardest. I watched the race, watched for my time, bide my time, see for the last lap flag. Noticed everyone was like kind of sliding down, and I pushed a little bit harder just to get to the front group. Then when I see Mark go down, I didn't realise how close they were behind me, and I just pushed that little bit hardest to get to the line. Worked out a win, so yeah, I'm really pleased after yesterday. It wasn't very good, so yeah, pleased.
And now the TDG Cup results. A win for Ralph Turco from Mark Cheetham. Jack Sim was third. Richard Green a very good fourth ahead of Ben Cater and Ricky Chadwick. And there we see Ralph with his trophy alongside Mark Cheetham and Jack Sim.
This track is not my favorite, and I've been working very hard back home, doing a lot of cycling, trying to build a bit more stamina because these races last a bit longer than I used to do last year. But yeah, it's been really good for me. You know, me and Mark had a great battle for this position in the championship, and yeah, I'm very, very happy.
And we're very happy too, Ralph. Next up, wonderful action from the second race for the Bemsey Power Bikes. And that will be joined by highlights from the EDI Asia Formula 400s. We're back here at Cadwell Park for the MRO T3 Challenge, and this the Bemsey Power Bikes. Mark Lister on pole, Michael O'Brien there sat alongside him. Great race they had earlier on. Steve Thompson, afternoon Steve, and Peter Baker, the championship leader, on the outside of that front row of the grid. Red lights are on, out they go, and away go the power bikes, and Mark Lister, well, he gets the power down well, but look behind, great start by Luc de la Cour. The flash of yellow there, he moves up between the front rows, and he's up into third place already as they exit Charlie's. Lovely start by Luke, but Mark Lister getting away well from that pole position. And look at Peter Baker, very much better start for him this time round, already up into second place as the field just try and gentle these 1000cc machines around the tight twists and curves of the gooseneck here at Cadwell. Down they run into Mansfield. Still Peter Baker chasing hard after Mark Lister, and Luc de la Cour looked very good in third place. He's right there, and Steve Thompson not that far back at all, ahead of Michael O'Brien. Next up was Steve Jordan, but Peter Baker very much more on it in this one. He will have been, I think, a little disappointed in the earlier race as championship leader. He would really have been wanting to finish on the podium, and he just managed a fourth at the end of it. But now looking very much busier. But look at Luc de la Cour. This is a great run from Luke, and he tries to run up the inside line into Coppice. Then we see Sam Bishop running through ahead of Scott Halliday. But at the front, Mark Lister, well, Mark was under much more pressure in the earlier race, but he's made a little bit of a break at the beginning of this one. And we'll see if that can be maintained. He runs down through Chris Curve, and Peter Baker right there with him. And there, further back, we see Rob Curry being chased by Peter Woodall and Ollie Henderson. And meanwhile, the leaders down through the gooseneck. And there we see Steve Jordan and Phil Crow. Phil, something of a circuit specialist here at Cadwell, and Steve, of course, the proprietor. Whoa, running a little wide there at Mansfield. He's the proprietor of Steve Jordan Motorcycles, without whom, well, they help out an awful lot of riders, particularly at the Bemsey Club meetings. Up the mountain there, Luc de la Cour having this great run in this race, chasing Peter Baker, and he in turn chasing the leader, Mark Lister. Michael O'Brien in fourth place, was a good second earlier, and well, you fancy him to maybe get his face in there before the end of this. Very quick rider indeed. And then we see Mark Lister completing another lap. Fantastic race from him. And there, Ollie Henderson just ahead of Steve Topping. Steve, who had a DNF in the earlier race, just dips down the inside at the hairpin there to take Ollie. As Mark Lister leads him up over the hill. Peter Baker in second. Luc de la Cour. And I fancy Michael O'Brien is, yes, he is closing them down slightly quicker over the lap that time than the three riders ahead. So it's going to be real pressure up front before long. Steve Jordan once again down towards Mansfield. Having made that little error earlier. Look at that. And so it should be done nice and neat, Steve. Well done. Mark Lister then. Now look at this. Michael O'Brien. There he is, pushing hard. He's got to get past. First of all, Luc de la Cour. That's his fall. He's pushing as hard as you like. Maybe a bit too hard. Bit of a twitch there over the top of the mountain. But yeah, he's chasing hard after Luc de la Cour. And there, Phil Crow closing on that leading bunch. We're going to have 5 for it in just a few moments. Mark Lister with that bit of a gap, championship leader Peter Baker, and Luc de la Cour having his best race of the season, I reckon, and he's, well, you fancy he was almost going to try and run up the inside but thought better of it. And meanwhile, Peter Woodall there, running down through Hall Bends, and 32 there, Peter Denton, another Peter, at the same spot, just into the hairpin in the midfield, as Mark Lister snaking under braking for Park, and look at that. Luke de la Cour manages, he stuffs it up the inside into the corner, and he's underneath Peter Baker, and the championship leader goes down to third. There, Sam Bishop being pursued. There's Scott Halliday. Scott picked up a 10-second penalty, in fact, for a slightly over-optimistic start. But nothing over-optimistic about this, just sheer quality. Mark Lister in the lead. Luke de la Cour, a superb second. Peter Baker and Michael O'Brien. Well, Michael's still pushing on. And Phil Crow, who loves it at Cadwell Park. He really has caught the leading bunch. So Mark Lister secure, I think, up the front, unless he makes any errors. And there, coming up into Hall Bends, we see Michael Elliott with Sam Bishop, and tucked up right behind him Mike Chappell, and that really the battle for 7th place. And there we see Sumzaki on 111, chasing up and over the mountain. And there we see Dave Officer Dibble at the back of the pack, just about to be swallowed up by the leader Mark Lister. Luke de la Cour in a wonderful second place. Look at Michael O'Brien. Michael just nipping underneath Peter Baker at exactly the same point on the circuit where he lost second place to Luke de la Cour. And Steve Jordan still chasing hard there, and there's that battle that we saw coming down towards the hairpin with Mike Chappell chasing hard, but at the front Mark Lister, Luke de la Cour and Michael O'Brien. Well, you sense that Michael hasn't finished with this yet. Look at Philip Drow. He's seen Michael O'Brien just nick by Peter Baker. Oh my goodness me, he fancies a piece of that, and he almost was sitting pillion there as they went over the top of the mountain. They are all pushing as hard as you like. These big old 1000cc machines are something else to haul around the tight turns of Cadwell Park. They're chucking around like 125s. Mark Lister across the line, sees the last lap flag. Well, who's got another shot in the locker? Is there going to be any change at the front? Certainly unlikely to be a change of lead, because Mark Lister riding so smoothly, and he's got himself, look at that, a really comfortable little gap. But Michael O'Brien really pushing on, and Luke de la Cour, he's worked so hard. This is definitely his race of the year so far, and he's under supreme pressure now in second place. Half a lap to go. The leader is through. Look, Michael O'Brien just nicks ahead there of Luke de la Cour, and Sam Bishop chasing after Steve Jordan. Sam has, well, he said he was going to squeeze through, didn't he, on the Exeter Chris curve. Hasn't quite made it, but the leader for the last time into the bottom of the mountain. Heels over and up over the top. There we are. Get a bit of air onto the front wheel, why don't you? And Ollie Henderson on this last lap, just getting ahead of Peter Woodall. And Michael O'Brien, look at that. Oh, Luke de la Cour. Well, this is still Luke's best race of the year, and he's really done well, but he'll be miffed at losing out in second. But a very happy winner indeed. Yes, winding on the pass still is Mark Lister from Michael O'Brien, Luke de la Cour, and Phil Crow gets ahead of Peter Baker at the end. So Mark the win from Michael O'Brien, Luke de la Cour third, Phil Crow, Peter Baker, and Steve Thompson in 6th place. And very happy Mark Lister there atop the podium.
I'm very happy. I had to work very hard for it. I got a toe off of these two guys. Kept me good. Good lap times. I'm very chuffed.
Bike's feeling a bit better this time. Didn't have enough time there in the end to catch Mark. He rode a good race again, was out the front. It's a bit damp around the woodland section, just up at the hairpin, so the lap time's a bit off there, but still felt good. There's more grip out the back section.
I managed to get a good start for the first time this weekend, because I've always had to battle through from about 5th or 6th all weekend. So I just led from the start, and I just took it really easy through Hall. I was expecting someone to try and do me there, but they didn't, and yeah, and then it quickly dried out, and I just rode as hard as I could the whole time.
And riding as hard as they could as well. Highlights of the EDI Asia Bemsey Formula 400s. This is their second race. Adam Lyon not getting away quite so well from pole position that time, and Steve Palmer it was that went off into the lead for the first time asking, and getting away well, but being chased hard by Steve Murphy in the early stages ahead of Adam Lyon, and Simon Exton there on his own, dumping that on the grass, but Simon up and okay. father of Max Sexton, of course, who was racing hard at the front of the field. But Steve Palmer, well, he must have had a bus to catch. He was way at the front of this one. And then we see Danny Buchan on the 83 bike there. Started the season as an Aprilia Super Team, but grew up. And he's now on the bigger bikes, on the 400, and doing very well. Now, we see, and just a little twitch there, and it's enough to dump Simon there on the grass. And well done, mate. 1 fall, 1 submission. Steve Palmer across the line, being chased hard by Max Exton and Steve Murphy. Danny Buchan up there. Then we see Simon Braby chasing hard after Colin Martin and Mark Parbury, but Steve Palmer leading comfortably after Adam Lyon went out very early on in the race. Max Sexton chasing hard, but can do nothing about closing the gap to Steve. And a great race for third behind Steve Murphy, being pursued by Mark Parbury, and there Danny Buchan in the closing stages. And Steve Palmer, well, he got away well. He loves that. Thank you, sir. Bit of a strange salute, Steve. And takes the win from Max Exton. Mark Parbury in third, Danny Buchan fourth, Steve Murphy fifth, and Colin Martin rounding out the top 6. Josh Murdoch took a good win in the rookies, and he was up on the podium with Steve Palmer, Max Exton and Mark Parbury.
I'd like to say a big thanks to John at EDI Asia for supporting this series and putting up some good prize money this year. And also thanks to Stan Stevens for sponsoring me this weekend and building my engine. So yeah, good weekend.
I thought I'd settle for second, seeing as the first race didn't go to plan with a snap chain when I was right behind first. So, but no, next time I'll have him definitely.
Yeah, big thanks to my brother doing the pit board, letting me know I had a big gap behind me so I don't crash and throw it all down the road. But yeah, it was a shame with Adam going out. He had some sort of problem. Would have been a good race had he continued, but yeah, got a good start and did all my fast laps at the start and just sort of kept the gap to get the win. I won for ages, so I'm well chuffed.
And in the rookies, a good win for Josh Murdoch from Sam Cox and John Ashley.
It's bob on. I can't believe it, really. It's a dream come true.
And while I rush away from my dictionary to find out the meaning of bob on, the rain comes down and we look forward to the Triumph Triple Challenge. That's up next. Welcome back to the MRO T3 Challenge at Cadwell Park. We had sunshine and it's all gone. It's absolutely hammering down. Scott Rowbottom and Lance Carey there, yeah, all done up in their plastic bags over the leathers. Mark Kringle pulls up into third position on the grid, and Reece Rothwell alongside. And, well, it's been dry for testing, it's been dry for qualifying, it was dry for Super Bowl, it was dry for the first race, but look at this, it's absolutely horrible for the second of the Triumph races. And in these disgusting conditions, well, Scott Rowbottom, who comes Venable's not very far away up the road, leads away, and the entire field disappears into a ball of spray as the leaders pick their way around Charlie's and down. Look at that standing water there at the bottom of the dip and Park Straight, and marshals have actually been out and doing a lot of work with the brooms, clearing as much as they can of that puddle, but still a bit of a water splash down there. Everyone teetering around. Of course, the Triumphs have already had experience of fairly lousy conditions this year. At Silverstone, they nearly drowned. That was absolutely ghastly. Well, the conditions at the moment not that much better. Slightly less rain perhaps falling, but there's a lot of water down there on the track. And picking their way gently down towards Mansfield. Oh, because you can run wide there. And Ralph Turco goes walkabout, but he manages to stay upright on board and get it generally pointed in the right direction. And there's Tim Venables ahead of the race one winner, Josh Wainwright, and being pursued up there by Tom Fisher. Fisher, quite an appropriate name in these sort of conditions. Scott Rowbottom leading there from Mark Cheetham and Jack Sim, and the TDG Cup runners doing markedly better in these very, very greasy circumstances. Look, there's Ricky Chadwick just ahead of Ralph Turco. They'll be battling for, I think, third and fourth in the TDG Cup, but Scott Rowbottom crossed the line. Mark Cheetham there, and they're all hammering along despite the conditions once again in the straight bit. So Josh Wainwright losing out. He got up alongside Tim Venables, but Venables came back at him there. But look at this. Scott Rowbottom is stretching it there, just avoiding the worst of that puddle as they scream up the hill into Park, and then Chris Kerr, and there Jack Sim having made his way past Mark Cheetham up into second place, but leading TDG Cup runner Toby Glenn there, chased by Andy Marriott. And Lance Carey again didn't seem to be enjoying the damp much. Ralph Turco just following him, but look at this. He's made for this, isn't he? This is Scott Rowbottom looking very much in charge. Jack Sim, Mark Cheetham, then Reese Rothwell. Reese's lap times have been good as well. He stays ahead of Mark Krenkel, then Tim Venables, and there once again Josh Wainwright having won that first race, but can't seem to get past Tim Venables yet. Let's catch him once again here as they come towards us. There Tim Venables, there Josh Wainwright, and still no change in their positions. Tom Fisher keeping an eye on proceedings. And, oh, Ralphie, stay on board, dear boy. Really catching himself out there, Ralph Turco, in the middle of all bends, and behind him, nobody overtaking. They're all going, what's he doing? And meanwhile, at the front, this looking very, very smooth indeed for Scott Rowbottom. He is tanking away, leader overall and leading Michelin Young Gun, but it's a lovely battle behind. Jack Sim and Mark Cheetham still at it like knives. Around Chris Curve, Jack Sim, one of the taller riders. You can see when he sticks his gets the old knee out there going around Chris Curve. He looks about 8 foot tall, but lovely control in this gruesome weather. Down into Mansfield then. Mark Cheetham, who has picked up some good wins in the TTG Cup this year, notably on the Grand Prix circuit at Brands Hatch, but he's having to give best at the moment to Jack Sim and Reese Rothwell. Now, Reese, who looked particularly good in the earlier race as well. These conditions don't seem to bother him, and he's keeping an eye on these two ahead. Remember, although he's fourth on the road, he is effectively second in terms of his own section of the championship. He's the second of the Michelin Young Guns. The runaway leader at the moment, of course, Scott Rowbottom being the leading young gun in this one. He comes up to complete another lap, being followed by his own personal ball of spray there. And Jack Sim and Mark Cheetham being pursued by Reese Rothwell. Oh, Jack running slightly wide at Coppice there, and Mark Cheetham spotted that, and he was straight up the inside. I wonder whether he'll have been able to make it count around Charlie's. Well, yes, he has. So Mark Cheetham not just up into second place on the road, but the leading TDG Cup runner, and Jackson comes back at him on the run to park. He can't quite. He was thinking about stuffing up the inside. Wasn't quite close enough to do that safely, and particularly not when it's this greasy underfoot. Well, those the leading four, but Tim Venables got a slight gap now over Josh Wainwright and Tom Fisher. And there we see once again the leader, Scott Rowbottom, exiting the chicane. Immaculate line. Mark Cheetham having got up into second, just getting away slightly from Jack Sim and Reece Rothwell in that fourth place, but second of the Michelin Young Guns. But really, Scott Rowbottom hit the front at the first corner and has really never had to look back. He's got away well. He's rode brilliantly considering the conditions. And look at that, absolutely hammering down still and puddles everywhere, but across the line he goes. Mark Cheetham making good his escape at the moment, ahead of Jack and Reece. And there we see Adam Parsons being chased hard by David Jones and Andy Shim. James Stone in there as well, and up the hill, over the mountain they run, and raindrops are falling on their heads. Oh yes, they are. Mark Cheetham putting in a couple of real punishing laps towards the end of this, and he is edging closer to Scott Rowbottom. I reckon Scott still has it well in hand, but Mark Cheetham pressing on and really has made that break count ahead of Jack Sim. And there's Jack running down into Mansfield with Reece Rothwell for company. And once again, Scott, good to see him not looking over his shoulder. Actually, I never think it's Jack, did you have to do that just then? It always bothers me when they waste time looking over their shoulder. I never think it's the quickest way of going around in circles. But up the top, yellow flags. So somebody will have had a problem at the hairpin. They're being shown there at Hall Bends. There we see the leaders going through. Reece Rothwell a little bit closer to Jack Sim, but he can't do anything about that because they've been covered by the yellow flags at the moment. But, across the start-finish line, there we see Mark Cheetham chasing hard. This time Scott Rowbottom slightly quicker over the lap, responding to the closing Cheetham behind him, but it's last lap time. So up on the top of the circuit, the highest point at Chris Curve. There we see Mark Cheetham running after Scott Rowbottom. Jack Sims still ahead of Reece Rothwell. But really, unless somebody has some horrible twitch left in the armoury, then they should all stay on board and complete this race in these positions. Nobody really close enough to take any kind of a dive. Scott Rowbottom, he just does look immaculate, doesn't he? This has been a great race from him, but somebody has got it all wrong right at the end there. Is that Paul Hughes, I think, parting company with proceedings? But meanwhile, Scott it is, through the pouring rain. He sees the checkered flag and he's really earned that one. Good race, and he loves that. Punching the air, punching the raindrops. Scott Rowbottom the win. Mark Cheetham second and winner of the TGG Cup. Jack Sim third, Reece Rothwell fourth, Mark Kringle fifth, and Tim Venables in sixth place. Well, the winner and the leading Michelin Young Gun. There he is, Scott Rowbottom from Reece Rothwell, Mark Kringle, Tim Venables fourth, Tom Fisher fifth, and Josh Wainwright sixth. There on the podium, Scott Rowbottom.
Couldn't fault the tyres, couldn't fault anything. Just with having a lead the whole time, it was just concentrating. The concentration levels were about maximum by that last lap. It was quality race, really, to lead it all. And yeah, I was happy to bring it home.
And bringing home the points in the Michelin Young Guns. Mark Kringle leads from Josh Wainwright. Scott Rowbottom moves up to third ahead of Reece Rothwell. Then it's Lance Carey in fifth and Andy Marriott in sixth. And in the TDG Cup, Mark Cheetham took the win from Jack Sim and Ralph Laturco, with Ricky Chadwick fourth, Wayne Martin fifth, and Richard Green in sixth place. Well, it'll be a very happy podium. Three very cheerful chappies indeed. Mark Cheetham takes the win from Jack Sim and Ralph Laturco.
That's the fastest I've ever been in the wet. Those Michelin wet tyres are unbelievable. We're only about 6 seconds off the pace, you know, the dry time's like unbelievable. I just didn't know you could go that fast on the wets, but with Jack coming past, I thought I'm going to have to follow him, and managed to get him just at the left-hander before Charlie, so you know, it all turned out good. So started the weekend with a crash, finished with a win. I'm happy.
Yeah, we're happy too, mate. TDG Cup Championship points then. Jack Sim, the leader, extending his lead from Mark Cheetham, Ralph Laturco, Ricky Chadwick, Paul Hughes and Andy Batt. So it's goodbye to a rather damp Cadwell Park. We look forward to seeing you again after, we hope, a dry Brands Hatch.